power we ascribe to you, oh God. Your word brings life, your law is truth, oh God. Our lives we offer unto you, oh God. Lord, we praise your name. The Lord our God is high and lifted up. The King of Kings is high and lifted up. There is no one as high and lifted up. Lord, we praise your name. Lord Jesus, we exalt your holy name. Your goodness and your love our lives proclaim. With grateful hearts we bow and worship you. Lord, we praise your name. The Lord our God is high and lifted up. The King of Kings is high and lifted up. There is no one as high and lifted up. Lord, we praise your name. The Lord our God is high and lifted up. The King of Kings is high and lifted up. There is no one as high and lifted up. Lord, we praise your name. Lord, we praise your name. The Lord our God is high and lifted up. The King of Kings is high and lifted up. There is no one as high and lifted up. Praise your name. Lord, we praise your name. Lord, we praise your name. Lord, we praise
There are places in us that you alone can see. Solid structures built internally. All that I am and
this race, we're so resolute. There ain't nothing that will phase, man. I know what really sustains, man. Jesus, you're the one that on this rock you will build your core. I'm core, this is what I chose to be. I've been through the cloud, been through the fire. I took me out to me. Hey, we see the land and smile. We bend our backs for more. He said, watch, I'll pivot on that core. Pivot on that core. Let our will be always your will. Your will. Let our lives be always more still. Been through the fire, I took me out to me, out to me. I've been through the cloud, been through the fire, I took me out to me, out to me. I've been through the cloud, been through the fire, I took me out to me, out to me.
We're committed to the path. We will build until you come. We're committed to the path. We will build until you come. We will build until you come.
It's another beautiful day here in Jamaica, Otis, Jamaica, and I hope it's just as beautiful wherever you are. We're not having a lot of sun outside. The trees are blowing. I'm looking at an ackee tree that's laden with ackees, and outside is looking cool. Wish you could be here with us, but since you can't be here physically, we thank you that you are here online with us. Now, welcome. This is our 6th seminar in our 8th series seminar, our Parents Empowerment Seminar. And our topic for today is the parental challenges of technology and online schooling. Welcome to our parents. Welcome to all guardians, children, friends. Welcome. As usual, we are honored that you chose to join us for this 6th session. Thank you for those who were at the 5th, for those who are at the 4th. Thank you so very much. Again, we say this series is a collaboration between the Northgate Empowerment Place, N-PEP, and the Retreat Primary and Junior High Parent Teachers Association. And we have to say welcome to our Retreat Primary and Junior High School that's online right now. We thank once again the principal, the staff, the students, and parents for giving us the opportunity to contribute to your community. The Northgate Empowerment Place, N-PEP, is a values-based parenting initiative spearheaded by the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation in association with other strategic partners. The primary focus of N-PEP is repositioning powerful values-based parenting as a starting place for nation building. We are nation builders. The chairman, Wesley Boynes, is the facilitator for this series, and you will hear more from him as he's a lead presenter. He has been intricately involved in the Jamaican educational landscape for many, many years. Our panelists for this afternoon are Vanessa Peak, Avia Gibbs, Joshua Yee, and Sheldon Brown. And we have once again with us Dr. Marcia Campbell-Johnson, who you will hear from in our Health Corner. And we have our guest contributor, Neil Rule, who brings his expertise in the technological world. We will tell you a little bit more about them just before their time. The sponsors for this afternoon's seminar are the Catalyst Bookstore, shop number 44, at the Ocean Valley Shopping Center, Ochireus, the Northgate High School, 1 White River Exchange Road, Ochireus, St. Anne, the Philadelphia Life Center, Ocho Rios, Jamaica, and for the Health Corner sponsor is the DMAC Experience, where you build your mind and body. Now, our last seminar, the topic was overcoming the COVID-19 challenge. And our presenter, Wesley, spoke about the opportunities that have arisen since COVID-19. And some of the opportunities that we focused on were the opportunity of bonding between parents and children, because now you're at home more frequently. The opportunity for parents and their children to listen to each other. Parents listening to your children, because a lot of times it's just the children listening to the parents, but this was an opportunity for parents to listen to their children. Another opportunity that we dealt with was the opportunity to deal with unresolved issues. So all those issues simmering, this is an opportunity during the COVID-19 challenge. We're at home, deal with it. Opportunity to build understanding and opportunity to pay attention to the internal development of children. Lots of times we pay attention to the externalities, but their internal development, which is key, which is core, is missed out on. And finally, the opportunity to build up the family altar. A place, there is a place, we have our creator, right? Who is our source. An opportunity to build, to recognize who it is, who is our source, Jehovah, God, and to speak with our parents and children for them to understand that. Our panelists were quite transparent about their process with their children, and they spoke about how they turned their challenges into opportunities. So the last session, we introduced the Health Corner, where our doctor in the house answered questions that were posed. And we also had the privilege of speaking to a parent who was in quarantine. She told us about the challenges she was having navigating that at home with 2 children and a husband. We have since received an update that her results came back negative. Thanks be to God. Today, we're going to be dealing with the topic of the parental challenges of technology and online schooling. And if we have been listening to the news, just listening to persons are scratching their heads wondering, this is not me, I left school a long time ago, why? But parents, our children are at home, so we have to learn to deal with it. And so our objective today is to equip parents to deal with the reality of the virtual world, managing the education process of their children while protecting and building the core values of the family and their children. Because guess what? Technology is changing our lives and it is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. The COVID-19 pandemic has slowed things down, and so lots of our activities are online, including education. The virtual world has brought the school and home into the same space. So nobody's going out to school and coming home, everything is there. And we realize that children need a technological foundation to cope with a technological future. So at this time, we'll have a word from one of our sponsors, the Catalyst Bookstore.
A Catalyst Bookstore and stationery supplies. A Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies is a unique and powerfully functioning resource center. We offer educational materials and resources for strong family life. We encourage our families to not only learn together, but play together. The Catalyst strongly believes in community development, and so we interface with schools and institutions promoting mental, social, and spiritual health. The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies, shop number 44, Ocean Village Shopping Center, Ocho Rios, telephone 876-974-3710 or WhatsApp 876-293-1150. The Catalyst, a resource center with family at heart.
Thank you. That's the Catalyst bookstore. Wonderful place. Now we're going to be introducing our lead presenter for this afternoon, Wesley Bynes. Wesley Bynes, someone who I call a visionary. He's a founder and current chairman of the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation, NYFDF, a not-for-profit organization that conducts initiatives just like these: career days, grief counseling, institutional strengthening programs aimed at improving the quality of life of community members, our school leaders, our children, our senior citizens. He's a past president of the JISA, which is the Jamaica Independent Schools Association. He's founder and chairman of Northgate High School, which is one of our sponsors here today, a private high school located right here in Ocho Rios. Wesley Bynes is very committed to the Jamaican cause, and he has a vision to see a strong Jamaican nation emerge and take its place as a leader in the world of human development. He loves to encourage and help individuals and organizations to go beyond their perceived limitations in order to develop their fullest potential and capacity, and more importantly, in so doing, discover their God-ordained destinies. He is married to Angela. They have 3 children, Rina, and twins, Jabulani and Jodilani. So let's welcome Wesley Bynes.
Okay, thank you very much, Claudine, for that beautiful introduction. And I'm really happy to be here again today. I thought our session a week or 2 ago was really excellent. And I'm looking forward to this evening. It will be fantastic and very relevant to what parents and guardians have to be dealing with today. And I'm also looking forward to hearing the feedback from the panelists and also persons who will be listening online as well. So today we'll be talking about the whole challenging situations facing parents and guardians from the technological advance that is taking place, particularly in the realm of education. Perhaps it would be useful to draw a comparison between the world in which we grew up. Speaking about the older persons like myself, and the present context to measure the extent to which our world have changed and morphed. Okay, older team members would have remembered when school ended at 3 o'clock, and by 4 o'clock you're home. There's no traffic, there's no gridlock, there's no waiting a long time for transportation. There's no frustration at arriving home late in the evening, only to start the entire exercise again in the next day. For some of us, there was only one television station, and life consisted of a simple routine. Arrive from school, work, have a meal, watch the 7 o'clock news, go to bed. And when I was a little boy, TV used to sign off at 12 o'clock with the national anthem. These things will happen again. Okay, life has become very complicated. The requests that children make for their birthdays and Christmas these days are very sophisticated as when you compare it when I was a child. So technology is changing our lives, and it is here to stay. And I want all the parents to understand that. Okay, we know how our children going to school online and all this stuff, and a lot of other services are going online. Technology is here to stay. This is not a temporary blip that will go away once COVID-19 is gone away. There may be some temporary respite, but by and large, technology. Oh, 1 second, please. Let me share my screen. All right. Okay. So it's here to stay, and I really want us to understand that. And don't, yes? Just stop a minute. We have some technological challenges here.
And that's what technology is about. Technology is only good as it works.
Okay. All right, apologies for that. I was not sharing my screen. So I was saying technology is changing in our lives and it is here to stay. And that has always been the case. From the first time when humans walked the earth, as soon as technology came on stream, it changed lives, it changed how people related to each other, it changed how people managed their time, changed how people, how nations interacted with each other. And now COVID-19 is behind the shock treatment and the culture shock which many parents and guardians are dealing with at this point in time. So let's talk about the virtual world. The world in which we now live is quite different from the one I described a while ago, and the COVID-19 pandemic has slowed down the entire planet. And it's forcing most activities that are normal in society. Most of those activities are being forced online, including education, shopping, church. I had a birthday party. I took part in a birthday party for my mother online 2 or 3 weeks ago. All of my siblings from around the world were on there. And we had an online birthday party, and we are all thousands of miles apart because nobody can travel to get to where she's at. So we had to do it online. And a lot of other activities are being conducted online. And we are speaking specifically about education today. There is now a whole other dimension of life called the virtual world, which is fast becoming the norm, even before COVID-19. That was the norm. The speed at which the virtual world runs and the way in which it operates is vastly different from the old paradigm. And I want us to understand that. Parents now have to deal with the reality of being a true partner in the process of their children's education. PTAs have to now go beyond just being focused on fundraising. And a lot of schools, you go to the PTA is just about fundraising and about, supporting the school financially. And I remember when my children were in primary level school, I was heavily involved in the PTA. I was just about helping the school to put up a fence and getting some computers and helping them with furniture and stuff like that. Now, parents have to be true collaborative partners because a lot of the dynamics which occurred with children attending school, which the teachers used to manage in the physical school, that's now transported to home. So there's now a demand for a real association between parents and teachers. So the COVID-19 pandemic is waking us up to the fact that the way in which we interact with the world, including our children's education processes, must change. Whether we like it or not, we have to engage the virtual world. It is therefore imperative that we chart new markers and pathways to manage our world. This new world called the virtual world is not that new again. Just that many of us guardians and parents have been stubborn. But the virtual world has significant implications for parents, guardians, even the teachers themselves, healthcare professionals, and other persons who help to take care of children. And I want us to understand that. The virtual world has brought school and home into the same space, as Claudine mentioned earlier on when she was introducing the session. So everything is in the same space. School, home. Before, school was down the road. Now school is right in our homes. And parents have a dilemma. They have to track their children, track their charges. The virtual world has obliterated concepts of rural community, communication and borders. Okay, so now you have a child in the countryside is in the same space with a child from the town. All of them are accessing the same information and interacting in the same virtual room at the same time. And teachers have to manage that. How the virtual world bleeds into the real world. What are the parameters? How do I set parameters for my children? When I was growing up, you put a child behind a fence, and that child was safe. Okay? The fence at home or at school has now been made obsolete. Because a child can be in his bedroom, and he's interacting with somebody from London while he's lying down in a bed in Brownstown in Jamaica. And all of that has created a lot of issues for teachers and parents. So teaching and learning is now in a different space, on a whole different platform, and we have to find out how to manage all of that. I want to make a point that children need a technological foundation, with a technological present and a technological future. That's the environment in which they are growing up in. And I'm emphasizing this point because I want to take it out of the minds of parents that this is just the current push to online schooling is just a temporary response to COVID-19. The world is changing. COVID is just waking us up to that fact. So parents, while I understand your challenges, I'm a parent myself. I don't live in space. I have to deal with the same thing, maybe at a different level because my children attend the university. But parents, while I understand your challenges, stopping and hoping for the past to return is not so much a viable and sensible option. We have to adapt. Adaptation is the only relevant response to what is happening right now. How do we adapt? How do we regulate and control our homes while dealing with the virtual world? Being in isolation and denial will not help. And I've been listening to all of those voice notes from different parents. Some of them apologizing to teachers, and they now understand what teachers was going through and all of that stuff, and praying for September morning to come. We don't know what will be happening in September morning. We don't know how life will be. And what we need to channel our energy in is how to adapt. How do we adapt to this virtual environment? The context in which today's children are growing up has changed. And the quicker parents and guardians and teachers accept this reality and adapt to it, the better. Parents, guardians, and other caregivers will have to play an increasingly critical role to ensure that our children are prepared for the future. Because the context in which today's children have to learn and have to be developed has changed. And this change is accompanied by some very, very serious implications for everybody, for all the players involved in the process. So love it or hate it, the virtual world is part of our new normal. It's part of our new normal, and we will only be successful if we accept that reality and then find out how we can adapt, because everyone can adapt once you put your mind to it. So even if the pandemic lifts in the morning, parents will have to contend with the issues of an increasingly technological world. Because love it or hate it, virtual education is part of a new normal. I find it difficult to see schools going fully back to what it was 3-4 months ago. We have to learn to manage virtual education, and it will benefit us, our children, and our nation if we adapt and learn how to flow with what's happening right now. And this is not only a challenge to parents, but to educators as well. And let me name, I want to look at 5 or 6 challenges which comes with virtual education. First one, which is already making the news. Virtual or online education will expose the true character of students. Now that they are no longer in the physical space of their teachers. And you know, when a child is in his classroom with the teacher seems to have more control, and the teacher can confront things, and the child's ability to respond how they may really want to is limited because they're on the school compound. Now they're home in their own bedroom, in their own domain, in their own habitats, and teachers are now seeing another side of the students, which they never knew existed in many instances in Jamaica, and I'm sure in other nations as well. I want to refer you to an article from May 6 in the Daily Gleaner, in the Gleaner here in Jamaica. This was an interview with the president of the Jamaica Teachers Association. And in the article, I have some of it displayed here. And he's been interviewed by the reporter, and he said this development, online schooling, has turned the spotlight on a new normal of many parents and guardians, juggling the responsibilities of part-time lesson superintendents, which they never had to do before, working remotely themselves as the parents, and ferrying snacks and being round-the-clock janitors for their children. Because those children were normally at school throwing stuff all over the place, and then the school would pay somebody to clean it up. Now they're at home behaving the same way, and the parents have to be the round-the-clock janitors. He said you have some of the children who are not supervised at home during these lessons because parents have to go to work or go about their businesses. And teachers are having a difficult time with some of them. He said the lessons will be going on, and some of them will be really undisciplined and putting up porn and other types of materials that don't have anything to do with the lesson. And so this president and many of his teachers are blaming the online situation. And I am saying that we must not fall into the error of concluding that problem is online classes. The root of the problem is the lack of training, discipline, impartation of values, and character development of the children. Because character, in the context of speaking to a student, character is who you are when the teacher is not around. And the main focus of character development is not really a job for the teachers, it's for the parents. And obviously the teachers weren't doing it because now that the same children who were in the teachers' classes are now online, you're seeing a different type of behavior. And this is something we need to look at. So that's a challenge which parents have to go. I want to look at another challenge before we go into the commercial break. Virtual or online education will require parents and guardians to become more involved in the character development processes of their children. So this is dovetailing straight into what I mentioned a while ago. This is how it was always meant to be, but the former structure did not allow for much of that. Parents spend most of the day at work, and children spend most of the day at school. Teachers spent a lot of time dealing with parenting issues during the day. I did a survey a few years ago in a school on the North Coast, just to find out how much time teachers had to leave, put aside apart from teaching, to deal with parenting issues, like correcting children for lying and stealing and fighting and other type of attitudinal issues. And when I did a poll in that school from grade 1 to grade 6, K1 to grade 6, it was 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes from each hour was spent putting aside teaching English and integrated science and all the different subjects which students should be learning to pass an exam. And the teacher had to put that aside dealing with parenting issues, and it caused a lot of frustration for many of the teachers back then. Okay? And so parents, we have to take back our role, and I think this COVID-19 situation is now forcing us back to look at what is really happening with our children. Because if you train your child properly, if you impart proper values and morals to your children, then whether that child is in an online class or not, that child will behave his or herself. And the fact that so many children are acting up now that they're online, it means that there is a breakdown in the process somewhere. And this current crisis caused by the virus is just exposing what is taking place. And I need you all to think about that. When we come back, we're going to look at the virtual world by itself and the many opportunities for it to draw children into wrong values and behaviors. We'll speak some more about that when I return.
Do you have children 10 to 14 years old? Are you looking for an online school option that offers live video interaction between students and the teacher? Are you looking for a safe environment to help build character in your child? Then contact us at Northgate High School. We engage a values-based approach to education while delivering academic and life skills training. Parents of homeschooled children and those with children who are temporarily without a school option for this term, contact us. We may just be the answer you're looking for. Call us 876-506-2785 or email us northgatehigh2012, that is northgatehigh2012@gmail.com. Northgate High School. Impact through education.
The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies is a unique and powerfully functioning resource center. We offer educational materials and resources for strong family life. We encourage families to not only learn together, but play together. The Catalyst Bookstore and Stationery Supplies, shop number 44, Ocean Village Shopping Center, Ocho Rios. Telephone 876-974-3710. WhatsApp 876-293-1150. The Catalyst, our resource center with family at heart.
Our sponsor, the Philadelphia Life Center. Now, the Philadelphia Life Center has provided us with the volunteers. All of our volunteers here are part of the Philadelphia Life Center. We invite you to connect with us on Sundays online on our Zoom platform. We're here physically. Well, after COVID-19, we'll be here physically at the center, but as of right now, we are online on the Zoom platform. You may call us at 876-578-5492. We invite you to connect with us. Thank you. This time, we'll just invite our lead presenter, Wesley Boynes, to resume. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm looking at 6 challenges which I have identified, which comes with the virtual world, which parents and guardians have to pay attention to and deal with. The challenge number 3, the virtual world by itself is filled with many opportunities for children to be influenced or drawn into wrong value systems. The same advances in technology that allow our children to reach out to new sources of knowledge and cultural experiences are also leaving them vulnerable to exploitation and harm. So the virtual reality, the virtual world is a platform for both good and bad. And parents, you have to deal with it. It's just like anything else. Music can be used for both good and bad. A lot of things can be used for both good and bad. And we have to manage it to make sure that it's just the good which comes down our way. Our children represents the future of our community. Our children are the most vulnerable members of our community. And our obligation is to protect our children from becoming victims of moral corruption. That's a big thing online. Exploitation and abuse, both online and offline. And we have to teach them the values that will last and will guide them in any situation, whether it's school or home alone on the internet. Because the reality is that we cannot be with our children 24 hours a day. Every minute, every second, that's impossible. Because at some point we'll have to pay attention to something else. And we have to impart values to them which will keep them when we are not looking. So virtual reality, virtual school, online schooling will bring a lot of scenarios and situations which will test the values imparted to children. And if the values of the students are tested and they fail, this means 2 things, my dear parents and guardians. Number 1, it means the value system of parents have failed, or the parents have failed to pass on the values to the children, or whatever values they passed on did not stand the test. And number 2, the focus of the educational process at their school has failed. Now we hear about a lot of children carrying on online and doing things. So you have to wonder, before COVID-19, what was happening every day at school? Was it just teaching the children English and maths and geography and whatever subject and nothing else? We weren't teaching them how to conduct themselves? Because true education prepares young people for life, not just to qualify for a job down the road. And the virtual reality, online school, the technological environment in which children are growing up now will test the values which we have to impart to them. So parents, regulation and internet safety provides no guarantees. And I know a lot of parents now scrambling around and making sure you put all of these internet safety stuff inside of your child's devices, also the different filters. But people who are coming after your children, every day they find new ways to jump over those filters. So the reality is that regulation and internet safety programs provides no guarantee. What can guarantee your child remains safe is clearly defined values. Clearly defined values remain the only true platform on which your child can navigate his or her life, whether it's online or offline. Clearly defined values built inside of their character will predict how they will behave in any situation. Let's move on. Challenge number 4, I'm dealing with 6. Virtual or online education will require parents and guardians to ensure that their children are safe, okay, while being online. Parents, we have to make sure that we are there for our children. We have to bridge the E-gap. Okay? We have to learn the dangers which are online. There are some online dangers which I'd like to just quickly run through. Online bullying, copying and cheating, online gaming, clickjacking. Bullying can take place online. Okay, other people can bully your child can bully other people. And we have to make sure that the relationship that we have with our children is one where if something is happening, they will come and speak to us. And they should know that it's wrong to bully others. Children must learn how to take screenshots of wrong messages sent to them. Because sometimes these things can really, really affect children. And we need to understand these things. I know of cases where children committed suicide because they were bullied online. And I want us to deal with that. Very, very important. I'm not sure if I came off sharing my screen. I'm still on? Very good. The internet is a great source for schoolwork. But the temptation to plagiarize is very great. To cheat. Children should be made aware of the copyright laws. And because when they cheat, they will not learn anything. And because of the nature of the internet, okay, it's very easy to copy and paste. And we have to sit down and make sure the values are inside of our children, that they do not copy and cheat. Online gaming, it can be a good thing and it can be a bad game. In fact, parents sometimes have to sit down with their children and play some of the games they play online to make sure that it's not games and it's not with persons on the other end who do not share your values and how you want your children to behave. Clickjacking. Talk to your children about these things. Clickjacking is when something pop up on your screen. Maybe it will say, oh, you have won some prize. And when you click on that, whatever comes up, it leads you into some dark road, leads you into gambling. I got one on my screen that you have won. And when I clicked, it led me into a process of drawing me into gambling. And before you know it, your child is a full-time gambler. Okay, so these are some of the online dangers which I would like parents to educate themselves on and learn about these things. Challenge 5, virtual or online education exposes an obstacle to children's development. And what's the obstacle? Ignorant parents, guardians, and in many instances, teachers. Parents, we have to bridge the E-gap. You have to learn how to deal with the virtual world, and you do not have to be a rocket scientist. Many of the technology that is coming out now is very easy to manage and to learn. And if that's the world your child is growing up in, you have to learn how to navigate yourself. You cannot have your child on Facebook if you have no access to Facebook. You cannot have your child on Twitter if you have no access to Twitter and don't know how to use it. You cannot have your child on Instagram when you don't know how to go up on Instagram and all of these other different social network platforms. Having your child on Facebook and you don't know how to go up on Facebook is like sending a child across the road in some neighbor's house that you don't go yourself. You don't know who lives there. You don't know what are their values. You don't know what they behave with. You don't know what are their standards. And it's the same thing. The virtual world, the same principles apply as what will apply in the natural world. And parents, you have to be open-minded to learn more about the virtual world. If you don't, you will lose control of your children fast. You can educate yourself so that you can monitor and manage your children's computer use. You can review web activity and track sites visited on the web. You can apply common sense and keep computers and computing activity in a common room. Learn the language that these young people use on their phones. I had one mother come to me some time ago, and she walked around for a whole week with a text message that her daughter sent to somebody else. And she didn't know what it meant because they know all of those abbreviations. And I had to translate to her. Okay? And it wasn't a message which she was happy about. So, parents, educate yourself. It's not hard to do. The important thing for you parents is with all you're getting, get understanding. Proverbs 4:7 says, with all you're getting, get understanding. Ecclesiastes 1:13 says, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all which is done under the heaven. And this is the attitude which I think every parent must have. Getting wisdom and getting understanding. A lot of parents do not join networking sites so that they can get a look into their children's world. I know one parent who do not even leave voice messages on, if she calls somebody's phone. She told me that she don't believe in speaking to machines. She's that anti-technology. While she has children to deal with. So if she's trying to get a children and once the voicemail comes on, she don't leave a message. She don't text. She must talk to them. I said, well, the phone by itself is a technology. So if you're using the phone, then you can leave a voicemail. So parents can have some pretty funny and strange postures towards technology. A lot of parents do not encourage discussions about internet activity. Find out what your child did today. Okay? I did a survey once with some children in a school, and it was amazing and shocking the amount of time children were on the internet over the weekend. And their parents, I spoke to some of the parents, and they could not give an account of what their own children was doing all weekend long on the internet. I asked them, do you know what your child was doing on the internet? And many of them couldn't tell me what exactly they were doing. Young children. You have to ask to see what's being posted online. And I am old school, so I believe if I have a primary age child in my house, or a young teenage child, let me look at a young teenage child, just like how that child cannot lock me out of her bedroom or his bedroom. I can go into that bedroom anytime I want and make an inspection and make sure that they are keeping the room clean and keeping the place neat and tidy. It's the same way on the virtual world. Parents, you should have access to your children's virtual rooms. Very, very important. Let children know what info is safe to share online. Have this discussion. And the last thing I want to say, parent, is that pray for your children. Pray for them. Sometimes you do all that you have to do, and some strange situations still pop up. And I want to encourage you to pray for them. Very, very important. So quietly monitor your children's internet usage, know what they're doing online, establish clear online boundaries for your child. Encourage activities that don't involve the computer or other technological gadgets. So you should have a cutoff time and say, okay, let's do something with the family now. Okay, and make sure that child obey your instruction. And if your child is somehow addicted, seek help and pray. Once you're a parent, you must learn to pray. I want to end by leaving this last instruction found in the good book. The Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go. There's something called the way, not any old way. Train a child in the way he should go. And that's impartation of values. That's focus. And even when he's old, he will not depart from it. This is, you are guaranteed about the behavior of your child when you train that child in a certain way. And that would train is like aiming an arrow or a rifle. You are aiming at a target. You can aim your children to behave in a certain way. But you are not shocked how or about their behavior, whether they are online or offline. Train up a child in the way he should go. And even when he's old, he will not depart from it. I leave these thoughts with you. And if you need help, you can call us. And we will see how we can advise you and pray for you. God bless you all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so very much, Wesley Barnes. I learned quite a few things. I heard the word clickjacking, never heard of it before. And I'm thinking that I'm young enough to be, technologically savvy. But obviously, there are things that I need to learn. And so if in my youthful state, I have lots of things to learn, I can imagine there might be some older persons and maybe just some persons who have not been exposed to technology, whether young, old, wherever it is. But we have our panelists. And I'm going to be going in and speaking with them just now. Let me just briefly introduce first. We have Vanessa Peak. And Vanessa Peak is here in her role as a parent of 3, but also as a school director of the Northgate High School. We have Joshua Yee, who is here in his role as a son, a young man, a student in grade 11 at the Northgate High. We have Sheldon Brown, a parent of 2. And we have Avia Gibbs, a teacher in her role as a teacher here this afternoon, and also a parent of 2. Good afternoon, panelists. I trust that you're all doing well. Our panelists are on.
Yes, we are.
Okay, all right. So we have been listening to this presentation, and there are just 3 questions that I just want to pose out of what I heard this afternoon. So the first thing, technology is here to stay. How have you adjusted or adapted since the advent of online schooling, which has come to the forefront? It was there at some level before, but now it's in the forefront of everything. How have you adjusted, adapted since this? We will ask first Sheldon Brown, our parent of 2, Sheldon Brown, and Sheldon is in Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Sheldon, how have you adjusted?
Okay, good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. Wow, the word adjusted is in my context, a bit a strong word, because technology has always been something that, based on my upbringing, a part of our world. But as it relates to school, it has been an adjustment because the children no longer go out to the physical school. They are now doing it online. The adjustment have to be in terms of how do I keep track of what they're doing? Monitor to ensure that they are fully participating, they're logging on time. Thankfully, the children are disciplined enough, so I don't have to be behind them sitting and tracking every move. But every now and then I have to pop in and log into a class or 2 to see what is taking place, because I also have access to the children's classes. So I've adjusted my work. Fortunately for me, my work allows me to work from home. So I didn't have to make that adjustment like many parents have to do. So I'm considered to be blessed in that context. However, the children have not been this way before, where they have to study online or go to school online. So I have to ensure that I keep them up and doing what they're supposed to do, and to take the break from the computer when the classes break. Because the schools give them a time in between sessions so they don't stay around the computer. But knowing children, they stay there and find all kind of stuff doing. So adjustment I have to make it to check on them and ensure that they take a break and pull away from the computer. Do something else in the meantime.
Thank you, Sheldon. Now, Joshua, as a student, so before COVID-19, you were in school in in front of your teachers, with your peers, seeing them every day. Now you're at home, you're online, you're seeing them on the computer. How have you adjusted and adapted to this? And Joshua Yee, he is a student of Northgate High, but he actually lives in St. Catherine, Jamaica.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. For me, it has not been a struggle, other than sometimes I'm having internet issues, but learn to push beyond that. Just even though I'm not physically at school, I still communicate with my classmates, my teachers, my peers, my friends, because even though we're socially distant, that doesn't mean you have to socially distance with your friends. So technology has enhanced communication better for me. For school-wise, for online schooling, it hasn't been a struggle for me. I've learned to push beyond, as I said, the internet issues, because now everyone is home. The internet is being pressured. So I've learned, even though like sometimes I don't have my teachers online, I learned to use my time wisely, like finding something else to do online, like learning another language or finding practice questions to enhance my knowledge. So yes, so.
Joshua, you sound like a model student, man. Finding things to do and everything. Excellent.
That is why I'm a part of the Northgate High School.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Yee. Thank you so very much. At this time, we're going to be inviting, asking the same question of Avia Gibbs, who is a teacher and a parent of two boys who are going through this. Avia.
Okay, good afternoon. As Sheldon said, that word is a bit strong. What was it? Adjusted? Yes. There has been no trauma for us adjusting to an online environment. We were always involved in our children's educational processes when they were at the primary level in school, when, well, they're homeschooled. So that, and you know, that brings a whole diverse vista of opportunities there. They're now in a hybrid situation where they're students at Northgate High, but they also have a schedule where they're allowed to take part in other activities, and that has been going beautifully. I mean, we've had situations where we've had to head out uptown in order to get to another class, and before heading into a zone where we have no internet connection, I mean, we had to stop on the side of the road, and because they had presentations to do, so we would stop, they would do their presentation, and by connecting online to Northgate High, and when they're finished, we would head out again. So it wasn't difficult for them. They actually enjoy being at home. I mean, there are times when they say, okay, it'd be nice to interact with our friends, but they're able to do it online and using the technology to stay in touch. From a teaching perspective, we have always had that online component at Northgate High ever since the inception in 2012. So, I mean, things change and the context is different, but the principle was always there, and we've always been building, and we knew it was something that was always going to be a part of the school system. So it has been a period of intensification, but it has not shocked us. We would always incorporate technology into our learning processes. We have done that in different ways. We have tried now we'll have situations where we have games. We impart the information through games, and you know it will be different because the children are remotely connected, so we'll have to become innovative. So in that sense, for me, it offers an opportunity for me to learn. My thing is, I am the biggest learner in the class. So whether I'm dealing with my own children or my students, I am the biggest learner. And so whatever I need to do to make learning fun for them, I'm going to do it.
Okay, that was interesting. Stopping on the side of the road, for them to join into class and everything. That's it. Technology. Vanessa Peak.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Well, similar to what Mr. Brown shared and Ms. Gibbs shared, the word adjust is kind of drastic because the online component has been a part of our lives for many years at Northgate High, right? From its inception, it has been there. And as Ms. Gibbs said, it's really just a process of intensification. So it wasn't a shock system for us. We've always had blended classes where we have students both online and physical in the school. And so the school got ample experience of what it takes to have that type of dynamic. And it also presented opportunity for the students to learn how to adapt to that type of modality as well. And so for us, that was an advantage. In the process of intensification, I think some of the adjustments, if I would call it that, was first of all, adjusting our physical space. Because in my house now, you have 4 people who are home every day and online. And so you have to convert different parts of your house to function as 2 of us teach and 3 of them are students, right? So one is a teacher and a student at the same time. So that has been part of the dynamic, learning how to set up your house so that it could facilitate everybody having a proper learning environment. And then we have somebody here, a senior citizen who is not at school. And so the home needs to be comfortable for her as well during that time. So for us, it has been an exciting dynamic in learning those things. I think for me, the key thing, because like being in the classroom, similar to what Ms. Gibbs said, is the requirement to be flexible. Because you have to now take learning online to a range of students who learn differently. And you have to be open to being creative to ensure that learning does indeed take place. And that is a journey, it is a developmental journey that we joyfully engage. Because at the end of the day, we get closer to our students. And it's very satisfying when you start to see students being activated, being motivated, being personally developed, and then seeing them attain their abilities. So yes, it's new, but the journey can be a very delightful one if we put our mind into it. So being flexible, I would say, is one of the other things that one of the ways that I had to adjust, that strong word, in this new era.
Thank you, flexibility. And there's a phrase that Mr. Boynes used to always say, those who are flexible shall not be broken, right? So we need to be flexible and adaptable. Now, we also heard about the true character being exposed during this time. What have you learned about your child? Or Joshua, what have you learned about your parents during this time? Have there been changes in your relationship? And maybe as educators, have you learned anything different about your students during this period? True character being exposed. I'll start with Avia Gibbs.
Okay, as I said previously, my children are totally thrilled to be home. We used to talk a lot. We talk a lot more. So that has been lovely. One thing that I would speak of is I have been able to start the learning process in terms of a particular game that they play. And it all came out of just lounging one day, talking, and one of my sons brought up the phone and he started teaching me some of the different aspects of the game. So that has been beautiful. In terms of my students, I really enjoy the interaction with my students. And one of the things that I do not just jump into a class. I am imparting to people. I am facilitating the learning process of people, and they matter to me. And so before we talk about any one or two verb adverbs or whatever it is, I do a check. How are you all doing? And we see their faces. It's an online environment, and so we interact like that. If I'm in the midst of a class, and you will know when they are saturated. I am not going to push them to the point of oversaturation and kill everything that's in them that they got. We're going to stop. We're going to bust a joke or two, and then we can start again. I mean, I've learned their likes, I've learned their dislikes. We've had situations where they were like, Miss, what are you going to eat for lunch? And we share that, and we have our laughs. We've had PE sessions online, and they submit their challenges like it could be a push-up challenge or whatever. So it has been another opportunity to interface, to interact with the young persons who are in my world, my children, and the ones who I interface with my students at a whole different level. And for me, that is just priceless. So that's been an opportunity for me.
Okay, thank you. Joshua, anything you've learned about your parents during this time?
Me, as similar to Mrs. Gibbs, even though I'm at school, I get a chance to speak to them even more, like build a even stronger relationship with them as well. But my father burst in a little joke because since we were home and everything, because I learn culinary skills. And so my father said, by the time all of this is finished, I'm a professional chef. And so I've learned to not only doing my work, I'm like, all right, yes, I need to get this done. I play games with my family. I introduced my mother to a game that Destiny and I play. She's aware of my online and virtual world. I'm very transparent with my parents. I don't hide anything. I let my parents know what class I have, so they can time me and say, enough of the devices now, time to talk with each other and everything. And so it has been a very, very, very wonderful process. As we were saying,
Okay. You through, Joshua? He's finished? Or was there some internet challenge? Well, probably, and that's what technology is about. Sheldon Brown, what have you learned about your children during this time?
Okay. Well, these two questions that they give me to start with. Honestly, let me just say that COVID and what has happened and online schooling have not changed anything with my children and what I've learned, because we have always had a tight relationship. And as I said earlier in my first response, it's just that they spend more time in school, online in school. But what I know them doing online now is what I knew of them doing before. So I was never afraid of them come online by themselves or do anything like that, because of how they were brought up. Not just by myself, but by the community that I'm a part of. So the truth is, I've not learned anything new about my children as it relates to online. So online has not taught me anything new about my children. I know them to be diligent, so online they are diligent. I know them to be well-behaved, so online they are well-behaved. Because if you take away online learning, when I interact with my children's teachers at school, I never go to them and ask them about how the test went or whatever it is. I always ask about behavior, how they conduct themselves in classes. So there's nothing new to learn about online for my children right now. And that's just the honest response.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brown. And finally, Mrs. Peak, Vanessa Peak.
I'm thinking about my 16-year-old daughter. She's an amazing little human being. The time home, I have seen certain skills that she had that are blossoming amazingly. She's an amazing writer. She invented a type of postcard I never thought was possible before. She's the only person I know who will give you a postcard with a question and a space where you have to respond in the postcard. It's just a novel concept. And that writing ability has been blossoming. So she will come and she will share what she's thinking of. And it has opened up her heart more to me, you know, concerns about what her future will be. And so I am discovering even more where my daughter's heart is. And I'm discovering some of her skills, right? And that is happening. It's 3 children that we have, but I'll just speak of that one for now for time limitation. As it relates to the classroom, can I tell you that there is no effective classroom without proper relationship? And if that was so in the physical world, I think it's 10 times that way in the online world. And so it is very important that as an educator before students, that our students feel very comfortable with us. They feel like they're in an environment where they are respected, where they are valued, where they have boundaries, where they understand the rules and they engage. And so because that is the platform, it's really an opportunity to discover them because they'll be very honest. I remember the other day I was doing a class and I wanted to finish up one topic and they all sat and they watched me and said, all right, just give me 10 extra minutes and let's just finish this one concept. Let's work it. And one of the students said, excuse me, miss, but we didn't eat any breakfast this morning. So we really want to know if we can have the break now. And I just laughed and I said, of course, all right, we're shutting down, guys. Go have your break. We will pick back up with all of that. So because of that flexibility and relational context, they feel very open. And because they feel open, you discover all manner and sundry of things about them. And that enhances their learning. So the classes have been fun as we discover our students in that space we create in the classroom.
All right, thank you. Now, one final question, just within 30 seconds or a minute. Technology can be used for good and bad. In your role as a school director, Vanessa Peak, what advice would you give to our audience this afternoon as they navigate this online world, online schooling, in your role as a school director?
Don't lead your children from a distance. Get involved and get up close. Find out what they're doing, engage in the activity with them, and from that platform, begin to guide and teach them. Because the best guide in them learning that is to build the values internally. Anything else will break down after time. So don't lead from afar. Come close to your child.
Okay, thank you. Joshua, what advice, same thing, would you give to our audience this afternoon as they navigate this online world as a student?
Well, my advice is that even though you're online, still speak to your teachers for guidance and clarity if you don't understand something. I learned to do that as well, to come out my shell, to ask my teachers for assistance, and not only don't just stick to one skill, enhance other skills. You might find other talents that you have as well. And one of that is that you can find another language or finding artistic skill that you don't even remember or you don't even know that you had, or just find other skills.
Okay.
To enhance.
Thank you very much, Joshua. Sheldon Brown, as a parent.
Similar to what Mrs. Peak said, I think Wesley shared it in his presentation. The internet is not a bad thing, but the internet is not the devil. It's not the mark of the beast either. Get to know and learn. The children, if we are leaders in our homes as parents, the children shouldn't be leading us. We can learn with them. And even if we don't know, we learn. You know, we can go on YouTube. A good friend of mine used to tell me, everything you want to learn, you can go on YouTube and learn it. So don't allow the newness of things or the fear of technology to prevent us as parents from learning. The technology is going nowhere but forward. So it will keep on moving, and if we refuse to move, we'll be left behind. So eventually we'll end up like, if you can't read Spanish or read Chinese, when you look at those words now, that's what will happen. The internet world is there, our children are there, and we are lost, and we cannot afford for us to be lost as parents. So we need to get involved in their lives. And now that wonderful opportunity while they're online learning to get engaged, incorporated in their lives, and touch base with other parents, learn from other people, ask questions. That's a very good way of learning. If you don't know, find somebody else who know. Don't be afraid to say you don't know, and get help. That's the best way.
Thank you. And Avia Gibbs, as a teacher, what advice would you give?
I think I'm going to struggle a bit. So whatever I share can be both as a parent and as a teacher.
Okay.
And I'd say put a system in place where you get daily updates from your children, and help them to put a system of accountability in place. So you're not going to spoon feed them, you're going to guide them. So by them having a system of updating, you will be aware, for example, what assignments it is that they have to do, and you help them put a system in place to complete and to log completion and to ensure that it's also submitted. The other thing is the online learning environment is different from a physical environment. Don't expect them to sit in front of a screen for hours on end. When they get a break, it's not because they're not learning or the school doesn't have anything else to give them to do, but we're also concerned about their own health and safety. And so it's important to understand that the learning dynamic is different, and so we also have to adapt to that as teachers and as parents. Also build a relationship with the teachers. Teachers and parents build a relationship. I mean, there was a parent that sent me a brain teaser, and it was so lovely. I told her I will have to share this with my class, and I did, and it was a beautiful experience.
Thank you so very much. Invaluable information from our panelists. Thank you, Vanessa Peak, our school director of Northgate High, currently in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, Jamaica. Joshua Yee, up in the hills of St. Catherine. Sheldon Brown in Runaway Bay, St. Anne, and Avia Gibbs right here in Ocho-Rios. Thank you so very much. Your information was priceless and invaluable. At this time, we're going to be having a little break, listen to some music. You might have heard this music before, but we still need to work on our core. Then we have our health corner. Well, our doctor just texted us. She has a little problem with, there's no electricity there. Hopefully that will come back on. But then we have, she's back on? Okay, beautiful. And we have our technological corner, our guest contributor this afternoon, Neil Rule. So after our music, then we'll come back for that.
Keep working, I'm working on my core. The hidden part of me that makes me who I am is my core, yeah. Way down deep inside where only God can see is my core, When I'm worshiping, praying, when I practice all that God's saying, when I'm listening, reading, then my spirit I am feeding, working on my core. Keep working, I'm working on my core. Working on my core, working on my core. Keep working on my core. Keep working, I'm working on my core. Working on my core, working on my core.
The choices that I make start down deep inside, in my core, in my core. The things I think about and friendships in my life build my core, build my core. When I'm worshiping, praying, when I practice all that God's saying, when I'm listening, reading, then my spirit Working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core.
Keep working, I'm working on my core.
Working on my core. Working on my core. Hallelujah. My God is holy. He is majestic. My God is mighty.
He's my protector. My God is worthy. All of my life I'm gonna give him glory. I'm working on my core. Yeah.
Working on my core.
Working on my core.
My core.
Working on my core. Keep working on my core.
Keep working
on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core. Working on my core. Working on my core. Keep working on my core.
Every day. Working on my core. Yeah. I build my core. Working on my core. Yeah. Reading, listening, and praying, and worshiping. I'm working on my core.
Okay. I was here dancing and working on my core and, putting up my hands and exercising. So I think based on that music, we're going to go shift things around, going to our health corner. Just now we have some questions from persons and they want to speak with our doctor in the house. And our doctor in the house this afternoon is Dr. Marcia Johnson Campbell, medical officer of St. James. Right, she was with us last week and she's back here with us. And Marcia, of course, is still never stopped studying, still actively currently pursuing a doctorate in public health at UMona, actively involved in her community in Montego Bay. As we said, our volunteers are from PLC, Philadelphia Life Center. She's actively involved in the Philadelphia Life Center. One of her favorite quotes is, "Each man shall do as he is able." And she says, "I will do the best I can with what I have." And she still hasn't told us about her favorite quote that says, "There is a way to carry water in a basket." So, Dr. Campbell, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Diel, and good afternoon to the panelists. Good afternoon, Pastor West. Good afternoon to your audience on YouTube.
Okay.
It's a rainy day here in Montego Bay, Yeah, but it's a good day.
Yes, it's not that rainy here. It's just cool here in Otria, so hopefully the rain will come up. Now, Dr. Campbell, we have been hearing about online schooling, but of course there are always something to do with our health. I mean, sitting, right now, the young people I know have always been on their computers and their games. So always sitting, not in our days when I would play cricket outside and play dandy shandy and get into exercise. Not all young people for the most part. Now they're at home. So there's a detriment in being sedentary, spending too much time around the computer. Nobody plays outside. They usually get exercise at school. So with the virtual school, the sit-down life is compounded. One of the questions we have been asked to pose to you, right? This question says, "My child complains about neck and back pain. Do you think this may be due to the computer?"
Well, certainly we have a range of issues that can come with sitting at a computer, especially for a very long period. And there are challenges with what we call musculoskeletal disorders, where you have muscle pain, especially in the neck and the back. You can have what we call repetitive stress injuries. Example, like with the carpal tunnel syndrome, because of the repeated typing and the poor posture. We can have challenges with vision because of the glare of the computer. We have challenges with hearing because persons using the headset may turn the volume up too loud. There are issues with addiction, because sometimes when they start and when they get on the computer or on the phone with the games, then they don't want to come off because it's so exciting and pulling and grabbing. And if they don't come off before a certain time, give a break before going to sleep, you have sleep disorders. And then, of course, as you mentioned, the sedentary lifestyle, not getting up and moving around, and the other challenge of being at home and you just always want something to eat. And so there are a range of issues that are associated with this use of the computer, use of video games, use of the phone. One of the things that we want to encourage persons is a simple rule, 20-20-20. You're seated at the computer, you want to shift your stare at a blank wall, shift your gaze from the computer every 20 minutes and look at a wall 20 feet away, some distance away, and look at it for about 20 seconds. So that's our 20-20-20 rule. So every 20 minutes, look away for a big distance, a long distance of 20 feet for about 20 seconds. And then every 20 to 30 minutes, you want you to get up and stretch. Do some neck rolls, head rolls, shoulder rolls, stretch out those back muscles, just stretch. And when you do take your long breaks, then we want people to be exercising. We want to ensure that you are having a correct posture. So there are people who are fortunate to have a nice workstation. You're sitting at a chair and a desk, but there are persons who are not so fortunate. But wherever it is that you are, whether it is that you're seated on a cushion on a floor with your back against a wall, find a creative way of sitting and sitting properly with the feet properly planted on the floor, or if you can't get to the floor, then it should be placed on a footrest. But you want to have that those feet supported. And you want to have the back upright, yes? Nice firm surface at the back, not leaning forward. And so the chair needs to be close enough to the desk or where the laptop or the phone is, so that you don't have to be stretching too far. And if you're using a mouse, we want it to be close enough so that you don't have to be stretching too far with that hand. And the eyes now, you want the eyes to be just looking just at the level just above the top of the screen of your computer. Or if it is the phone, you want the phone, you may want to stack it up on some books so that it is at good eye level. Those are some of the general things that will help to keep our children safe as they go through online. Right. Using the video games.
I have 3 questions, and in that one answer you covered.
Just simple. Just simple. We can move on.
But this one though, about the children eating constantly. I know you talk about exercise and everything, but you know what other adverse effects that could be had there?
Oh, it's not just the children though, it's for the adults as well, including me, guilty as charged. Once I'm home or when I'm off working, I'm always wanting something to eat. And our children, yeah, especially the boys, I'm sure the parents are like, oh my God, I just went to the supermarket and everything is finished. And they can't feed them because they just have this awesome appetite. So people will eat what is available. So make sure that what you have available is the good stuff, the healthy stuff. So the fruits, the vegetables, so the carrot sticks that are already nicely pre-cut and put in the fridge. So when they come down, that's the first thing they see, this wonderful container of cut up carrots. I don't know. Am I being an idealist? I'm sure some of my parents will say, yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man. I know that thing. So we want to ensure that the snacks that are available in the house are the healthier types of snacks. That fruits are available, fruits that are in season, that is available. And yeah, Claudia, you remember the days of sock?
Yes.
You used to go down at the shop, go buy a sock?
Yes.
Wesley, you understand those days of suck? Yeah, right. So, so what we're making suck out of now should be the fruits. So we make the natural fruit juices and put them in the small bags or whatever container and freeze it, and voila, that's our suck. Not sugar and water, not the syrup. Healthy juices, freshly squeezed juices. And at this time, everybody's at home. So Joshua spoke about, Joshua, you're building your culinary skills, right? And being creative. So let them learn how to make other kinds of juices and snacks for themselves. They have all the time there at home. So let them do it, let them experiment and make their nice, healthy juices and snacks.
Excellent, excellent. No.
And water, yeah.
And yes, water. And for persons who don't like the taste of, well, drink water a lot. What I do, I put a little ginger in it, ginger extract, or a little lime juice and so on. And I'm working with it because I'm working on my core. Finally.
Ooh, I'm joining you.
Finally, we're still in this COVID-19 situation. Just quickly, any advice as we traverse, this COVID-19? Any advice you want to leave us with?
My favorite thing to start off with is COVID-19 is not a death sentence. Yes, lots of people are going to have it, and they're probably going to run a mile course, and they're going to recover. But what do we know? In every crisis, there's opportunity. Yes. And Pastor West has shared a lot of those things with us. Grab onto those nuggets. Use this time and use the opportunities that come to build relationships, to learn creative skills, to, Joshua said, learn a new language. This is time absolutely full time to get a whole lot. Some things that you couldn't do before. Now those who stay at home and work from home, ooh, you're seeing all those adjustments that need to be made in the house, the decluttering, etc., etc. And sorry for those who, like me, have to go out to work and come back in. Try to, just try to strike that balance. You have to manage things. You can't allow this stress to get to you. So deep breath in, deep breath out. 10 years from now, we'll be saying, oh, when it was COVID and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, life will go on. Life will go on after this. So seize the opportunities now in this crisis. Just relax. Have no fear and no anxiety. Connect with people. Connect, especially in community. Come join us in PLC, and we will show you how to have a grand time going through this crisis.
All right, one final question. Wesley Boynes would like to ask you a question, Dr. James.
Hi, Dr. Marcia.
Dr. Marcia.
Yes, sir.
I think Claudine is changing her name. I wonder why.
Dr. Marcia from St. James.
She call you Dr. James.
All right, that will work.
Your husband will be happy about that. Anyway, I was speaking to a student some time ago, a week or two ago, and she said now that she's home doing online school, her mother is giving her all this work during the day. Her mother is forgetting that she's in school. But because she's at home, so before her mother leaves, make sure I do this, make sure I do that, make sure, she has this long list of things to do. And now she has to squeeze all of that in during the day, which she normally would not have gotten if she came to a physical school. So she's not enjoying online school because of all the work at home she now has to do and manage during the day in between classes. What do you have to say to such parents?
Oh, parents. I suppose I would probably do it too. But I guess all of us as parents have to recognize that online school is real school. And it probably is a little bit more challenging for some people. So they do need to have that time, that protected, dedicated time to focus on online school. So don't pile them on with all of this housework and whatever. It can be done on the weekend as would normally be done. So just limit yes, there are things that need to be done, but we have to strike that balance because online school really demands a lot. It takes a lot out. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of effort. It's easier for some than for others. So just don't pile on all that work. 1 or 2 chores, just be specific about those 1 or 2 chores that must be done, which would be done outside of the regular school time. And then the other chores can be done maybe on the weekend when they don't have school.
Yeah, I was thinking that's correct. The school hours must be dedicated to school, and even if there's a break, normally the children go under the ackee tree and sit down and relax or go around and play some tennis or something. They don't go wash dishes. Okay, so to have all that work in between classes, I think parents need to rethink that approach.
So that actually speaks to even mental health. That's
Yes.
affecting her mental
That is
health.
what I was concerned about.
Yes.
This child is stressed out.
Right.
And she's not enjoying the process because parents leave all of this work and they go off and the child have to juggle now between work and school.
That is very correct. And so parents have to use, wisdom and use their judgment and take the opportunity also to talk to the child, get feedback on how it is that they are coping with this. Are they getting frustrated with this adjustment that needs to be made? So use some time in the evening or in the early morning to debrief, to de-stress, to understand what it is that the child is facing, and let's work things out. But don't pile on any additional thing. It's a lot of stress as it is.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Marcy. Just before we close our health corner, the sponsor for this afternoon's health corner is the DMAC experience, building the mind and body. At this time, we're going to be, everybody, wherever you are, so you're going to be standing and you're going to be doing some exercises just for a minute or two with Gregory McPherson, our personal trainer. At 5:30 this afternoon, we have training with him online. So let's see.
Hello. Do you find yourself sitting for far more than you're used to? Get up, you want to move your shoulders and your arms around. So what you can do, that bottle of water that you may have at your desk, you can use that in substitution of a weight. All right, now what we want to do is hand by your side and extend up. 1, follow the bottle with your eyes. 2, and we switch. 1, 2, like this. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3. While you're sitting at your desk, you want to get up. You want to do what's called a wall squat, with your back against the wall, feet shoulder width apart, and we're going to go into a squat. You're going to hold it for 20 to 30 seconds. Back against the wall, and hold, arms out straight. Of hip rotations. 1, 2, switch. 1, 2, 3. So, while you're at that desk and you have your water bottle, besides drinking your water, here's something else you can do. You want to hold on to the back of your chair. You want your left knee forward. You're going to stick your chest out. The arm is straight, and what you want to do is bring it up to your chest. 1, 2, 3. You can go up to 8. You can go up to 10. These are called repetitions. That's the amount of time you're going to do a particular movement. Now, I hope you have enjoyed all of what I've had to show you today, and you realize that not because you sit at a desk means you must remain there for the entire day. Find some time. Get up, move, and practice these movements that has been illustrated for you. And I thank you, and I look forward to assisting you.
Thank you so very much, Gregory. And we all have an appointment with you this afternoon. So we train with Gregory online on a Monday morning at 6:15 and on a Wednesday afternoon at 5:30. And I have been getting up and I have been doing it. I'm in pain. I could hardly make it here today because I'm in pain, but that means I'm doing something well, right? My instructor noticed online that when I was supposed to be doing a plank, my knees weren't leaving the ground. so he made contact and he took the time to come back online to show me. And I'm doing it and I'm feeling it in my tummy. So thank you, DMAC Experience. So Dr. Campbell, just 30 seconds about the Jamaica moves, and we have a children's move, and we'll see that flyer on right now.
Yes, definitely. Jamaica moves. It's something that the Ministry of Health is very big on, and it continues. And we really want to have our children getting involved. They don't have their regular PE sessions, but we want them to continue their workout because physical activity is absolutely essential for, you know, getting that brain going, keeping them fit, and it reduces that sluggish experience that they would have after sitting at the computer for a long time. So certainly we have a program that's being aired on TVJ on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 2 p.m. So it goes for about half an hour, and we encourage our children to be a part of that. I enjoyed those stretches a while ago from DMAC Experience, and I encourage adults and children to ensure that you just move it, move it, move it.
All right. Move it. I love to move it. Hey. All right. So finally, our final section, just another 5 to 7 minutes with us. And we have coming next in our technological corner, we have Neil Rule. And Neil is an ICT advisor. He does web development, e-learning, application development. Neil has over 15 years experience in ICT project implementation with the private and public sectors in Jamaica, Guyana, and Barbados. He has spent over 15 years managing and working directly in the information technology industry. And his career is marked by considerable experience in providing innovative web solutions. He has developed online education platform and interactive educational DVD for the Caribbean Microfinance Alliance, and he has also developed an online education platform for University College of the Caribbean, and he has also developed an online educational platform for Northgate High School. So, Neil Rule, welcome. No stranger to us here. Hi, Neil.
Hi, good afternoon, Northgate. Thank you for having me. Good afternoon to you, Claudine, the panel, and to your audience.
Good afternoon. So, Neil, you have been here for the presentation, and we have a cross-section of persons online, educators, parents, guardians, students. Talk to us just a little about this world that's now becoming our primary way of communicating our existence.
Well, the virtual world. So we've come at a crisis that has spurred schools into going online. I think one of the things that came to me to really leave in this parent seminar is parents being facilitators. You know, parents being facilitators for their children. We have now where the schools, parents have to be more engaged with their children, with the schools, in order to make online work. So the home environment needs to be one in which discipline is maintained, in which the parents acknowledge that school is still in session, that they come alongside their children, the students, and that they just facilitate that environment at home that will allow them to learn and maintain the discipline that they had at school. That's one of the main things that came to me. Technology-wise, you know, it's called online classes. So we all want to ensure that we have the right internet access. So internet access is very important, or even periodic access to internet is very important. And even in some of my interactions lately with persons working from home, what I've come to realize is that there are a number of persons who don't have the right internet connection or internet packages at home, and they believe they do. Okay, so that's one of the first things for your online course of study, online classes, that you want to ensure correct, appropriate internet access for the students.
Tell us, what are some of those requirements?
Okay, I think you want to have at least 8 megabits per second of internet access. And that can vary depending on how many children you have going to school, how many persons are in the household using the internet. Note as well that with the use of Zoom or video conferencing tools, as what we call the synchronous part of education delivery, it uses a lot of bandwidth. I found that that during the hours, well, in some casual data that has been observed, during the period between 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., there's significant stress on the internet, and then it frees up. Of course, those are the times when most schools are in session. So you don't want to be lacking in internet connectivity. I know internet can be a challenge for certain persons. So you have to have a plan. If your internet package, or if you have weak internet where you are, or if you have challenges, you have to find a way to just possibly get the resource that you need in order to continue. The schools can be helpful in that as well. In the use of the educational platform, you want to know that, yes, you have live classes taking place, but let's say, for example, for those who cannot, for whatever reason, have access to regular and stable internet, you may want to facilitate the download of the said class sessions as an audio or video clip, and the material that it can be downloaded at some other location where the internet is strong. The material can be downloaded and then it can be reviewed post-class so that students aren't left behind.
One of the things I realized recently, and just some of the protocols, our students are at home, our parents and the other persons within the household need to realize, as we're just talking now, that they are in school. And in interacting with a student online recently, whenever she was about to speak, there was a lot of noise and you could hear everybody in the background. So tell our parents some of the protocols required. Their child is in school. Yes. What is it that they should be doing? And of course, some of our students, because they'll want to come on and start eating too. They couldn't do that at school. Go ahead.
So, as I mentioned before, discipline is important, maintaining the discipline of the environment. So your child should be appropriately dressed, I think, to maintain the discipline of being at school, even though you're at home, so they sit down, they're appropriately dressed. You, the parent as well, if you, just in case you have to appear in front of the camera for whatever reason, You may also want to be appropriately dressed as well as in some of the reports that I've been getting in other situations. You know, parents have appeared on video in nighty, in various clothes that are inappropriate for the classroom. So we want to be aware of these things. For schools managing a classroom, my recommendation is for the teacher to be free to teach and a teaching assistant be available to assist the teacher with managing a room, managing the muting of microphones, etc. So that could be a responsible student who's shown how to do that, or a member of staff. But in the home, it's really important to maintain the discipline. Online classes, online learning has been more a tool for mature education up to now, used in universities where students are at a more mature level or used as post-class material for students to do follow-up work. But now it's the main standard bearer for delivering education. And so we want to maintain the discipline that was in school online as well.
Thank you. I heard the term clickjacking, just heard that today, so that was a new term for me. What are some of the things that we should be looking out for while being online, as a parent, as an educator, as a student?
Looking for online. You really want to monitor what goes on online. You want to, anything that looks strange that comes in your email. Sorry about that. Anything that looks strange that comes in your email, ignore it. Don't necessarily click on it. Look for wrong email issues, email messages. There's a lot of spamming going on out there. A lot of what they call, the term again, phishing. Yes. Now, of all the things going on out there, I think phishing is one of the ones that I would most guard and warn against. Some phishing can look very legitimate, and they'll ask you for your password. No legitimate website is going to ask you to just change and fill out your password or submit a password just like that. You always want to ensure that any website you're visiting where you're putting in your password is secure, that it has HTTPS : before the www website name. You want to ensure that that is there. But be mindful of phishing emails. Don't just take it for granted that you can just click on any link that comes in an email and it is safe. Always be guarded. Even me, I'm always guarded. Anything that looks strange, if I have doubts, if I see a funny link and some email is asking me to click on a funny link, if I have serious doubts, I leave it alone. If I say, okay, let me give it a thought, I may email the person to verify their identity. Okay.
Okay, and finally, how do you advise parents or just even adults, persons not technologically savvy, how would you advise us to bridge that e-gap? Because we always say our kids nowadays they come out of the tummy, with all of this thing in their head, but we have been here for some time. How would you advise us to bridge this e-gap?
Okay, the first thing I say, there is nothing to fear. I remember my own father, who was very timid in using technology. Had at one point no email, had challenges browsing the web, and with some interest on his part and willing to learn. You have to be willing to learn. he is browsing YouTube, he is using WhatsApp, he is getting his email, and you know, he's enjoying the online experience. Whereas before, it was fearful, you know, you don't want, it's as if you're interacting with your phone or your laptop and you feel as if you're going to break something. No, you're not going to break anything. Just learn as much as you can. Ask the younger ones to help you. They, in an environment such as Northgate, such as Northgate School, there are numerous resource persons that I'm sure will assist. The students themselves are very capable. Just ask and just be willing to learn and eliminate all fear. Just be cautious. What you should be cautious about is some of these strange websites, dubious links, dubious emails. But beyond that, just be willing to learn. There's nothing to fear.
Thank you so very much. That was also invaluable information. Thank you so very much, Mr. Rule. It was our pleasure having you here with us this afternoon. So guardians, parents, students, educators, we have unpacked a whole lot of things this afternoon. And the beautiful thing about it is that you can go back to the YouTube channel and you can watch it all over again. You can watch it in parts, invite other persons to come back and watch it on the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation YouTube channel. Very, very interesting. So at this time, we're going to be inviting our chairman, Wesley Bynes, to give his closing words.
Okay, thank you very much, Odile. I thought this afternoon's interaction was really beautiful. And I learned a lot myself, even though I am presenting. Okay, and I hope all the parents who missed out on will visit our YouTube channel later on and you know, review some of the points which were shared. I really want to re-emphasize what I said earlier on, that once our focus is on developing good humans, okay, because as parents, we want all the best for our children. Okay, once we teach them the right values, the right principles, this current experience will turn out to be a positive thing. COVID-19 will turn out to be a stepping stone instead of a gravestone. I know a lot of people have died and all of that, you know, people have gotten infected and all of that. So that is a sad aspect. But there's a bright side to it. It's bringing parents closer to their children, putting parents and children in the same space to work out issues which they otherwise would not have been confronted because everybody's busy up and down. And we cannot be busy up and down. We have to be home by a certain hour and we have to deal with issues. And the virtual world is a environment which parent and children can build a beautiful partnership and conquer together. And come out better at the end. Neil spoke about his father. Okay? I think families can become stronger, students can become better students, better boys and girls at home. Parents can become better parents. It's a wonderful opportunity to learn. So I want to encourage everyone to make sure you have the correct perspective, and the Lord will help us, will help all of us. And I want to ask the parents to leave your contact us, and we are willing to pray with you and guide you and counsel you in it. Whatever challenge you are facing with, we are here for you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you once again. We'd like to thank our panelists, Vanessa Peak, Avia Gibbs, Joshua Yee, and Sheldon Brown, our contributors, Dr. Marcia Johnson-Campbell, and Neil Rule. And the music you have heard playing, we've been playing at the beginning and throughout, that was from Congress Music Factory. Please go online and find them out. Wonderful, beautiful music, all written, all performed, everything by Congress Music Factory. And I never ever want to leave out some of our persons behind the scenes. We want to thank our GCT team and those on the ground today. We have Jabulani Boynes, who is managing all aspects technological, and Andrea John, who is our camera lady, right? Andrea, hope you got all my good side. Beautiful, beautiful. So we just want Clifton Hall in Florida. So there's no limit. When we're online, that's global. Clifton Hall, who heads our GCT team, and although he's in Florida, he's hands-on and he's here and there. The rest of the team, Shabert Johnson, Rena Boynes, Yvette Yee. Am I leaving out anybody? Andre John, all of us. All volunteers, all from PLC, Philadelphia Life Center, volunteers also of the Northgate Youth and Family Development Foundation. So thank you so very much for joining us. Listen out for our next seminar. We'll soon tell you what that's going to be, right? And it's going to be interesting as usual. Remember, you can go to our YouTube channel and check out the previous seminars. Thank you so very much for joining. It was our pleasure having you. Thank you. God bless you.